Today is November 1st, 2025, and I'm here with Crazy James Wakel.
The renovations done in there. Um, and I read a article. Skydome's only got about 10 years left. It's the sixth oldest ballpark in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and buildings don't age that well in Toronto,
No, well,
or
all that
infrastructure
salt
doesn't.
air.
Yeah, on the
It's a lot better than the mistake by the lake.
well, the hard water from the what's a mistake by the lake?
Exhibition Stadium, it's where the Jays first played.
Oh, see, yeah, luckily I don't know any Toronto lore because I just don't give a shit about Toronto.
Well,
Do you think that'll lose fans? I'll lose, we'll have less listeners if I start riffing on Toronto.
no, I don't think so. Every good Canadian hates Toronto, and every good Torontonian hates Toronto too. Like it's
I guess it makes me Albertan, or sort of to hate Toronto and want to, I mean, and Quebec, holy shit.
the worst thing I've ever heard about Toronto, aside from their uh, ineptitude in hockey, is the 401. You can start driving out of Toronto, and 4 hours later, you're still in Toronto. Even I can make it to Edmonton in 4 hours.
Well, Toronto's it's a big ass city.
It
Uh,
is.
and Canada as a whole, I think, has really gotten behind the Blue Jays because
Yes.
frankly, they have nobody else to get behind. The
Well,
Expos
no,
are
they
gone.
took away the Expos, right? The Expos were my team.
They were a good team. I mean,
That
my Expos
that
were,
94 team, that was their World Series team. And then they gave it all away for nothing.
they had Pedro,
Walker, Johnson, like
Carter, of
that team
course,
was stacked.
and of course, Rusty Staub, Le Grand Orange. Only, only to be replaced by the other Grand Orange. Well, no, that's an insult to Rusty Staub, is to call Trump Grand Orange. I wouldn't want to besmirch the legend of Rusty Staub.
Yeah.
I had cats that I always thought were really Rusty Staub. I'd always get like big orange cats, and I'd call them Rusty. I don't know
My
what brought that up, but go Expos.
yeah, well, my favorite ball player of all time is and always will be Gary Carter. Absolutely just loved the way he played the game. He's the reason that I like baseball at all. Number 8 and the way his stance, and he'd hit, and his final at bat in Montreal was a base hit, and just the sheer joy, and the crowd, Montreal loved him. And UP, who is now the mascot for the Montreal Canadiens, they rescued him when the Expos moved. UP was ejected from a game
I
by
saw
the
a video
umpire.
of that by Tommy Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda
No,
got
or
his.
was it? No, it wasn't.
Yeah, Lasorda was the manager,
No,
and UP was dressed up in a night shirt and a nightcap, and went to sleep on top of the Dodgers dugout, and Lasorda lost it, and they kicked UP out, and a couple innings later, um they lost 1-0 to the Dodgers.
the Dodgers are not. I actually wrote a short story that heavily involved the Dodgers. When we immigrated to Southern California, there were two teams, the California Angels, or whatever the hell they were called in
Anaheim
Anaheim.
Angels.
Well, they were California Angels then, but
Were they the California Angels first?
oh yeah, I lived like in the shadow. We immigrated like within a mile or two of the Big A of the
Yeah.
Anaheim Stadium. But I used to listen to Vin Scully all the time in Dodger baseball games. So I was a huge fan of the Dodgers. Once I moved up to the Bay Area, Uh, People don't realize how much Northern California hates Southern California, at least the sports teams.
Fair.
Um, you know, like you hear things here like US, you know, beat LA, of course, is on everybody's lips. So you've got, you know, half of California really wants LA gone in the, you know,
Yeah,
against the Jays.
yeah,
So there's a lot of anti-northern, or excuse me, anti-Southern California feel up here, except San Diego. San Diego is actually sort of a neutral ground in that respect.
do they
But
still have the Padres? Like, why would it be
they're
neutral?
huge. Yeah, they got the Padres. Yeah, they hate LA too, I guess. Everybody
Well,
hates LA.
have you heard what the crowd in Toronto is chanting
What?
every time Otani comes up? We don't need you.
Well, is he starting to? I mean, not that it matters. People aren't going to be listening to this until, you know, before game
After,
time.
yes,
Yeah.
I do believe Otani is supposed to start tonight.
I heard the DH rules sort of make it that he has to start,
Yeah,
in that he can't stay in the game batting if he doesn't start.
yeah.
That
He's a
type of shit.
deadly ball player. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, he's Babe Ruth. I mean, he's exactly what Babe Ruth was, which was a great pitcher,
Hmm.
who, you know, who was first off a pitcher and just was an amazing batter. And eventually Babe Ruth just batted.
Yeah,
But because pitching is hard, you know,
absolutely.
he had Tommy John surgery. That's a lot of pain
Mhm.
uh, to be a pitcher. And you have to be, I don't know how they do it nowadays. I guess they have microphone, they have earbuds. They communicate between,
Yeah,
you know, with each other.
yeah,
Um, so, hey, back to reality. So, what the hell
yes.
happened? 6 votes, baby. You
Oh,
are no longer on the council, or did you get
I
a
am not.
recount? You are not.
No, it's the recount rules are that it has to be within a half a percentage. And because we didn't, I mean, I don't know what we have, like 900 people voted or whatever, it wasn't half a percentage. It was like 2.96. There's actually a girl who finished above me. I finished in eighth place. She finished in seventh place. She missed by 2 votes, and she wasn't close enough for a recount.
Every vote matters. I
It
know
does.
locally here, there's people who have lost by a handful of votes,
Yep.
or had a recount forced by a handful. I mean, it fucking matters. You
It
need to
does.
vote.
The irony of it is the very first time I ran is I only got 6 votes.
Well, nobody knew you,
No, they
obviously.
didn't, right? Like I was a kid and nobody really knew me and I was just kind of getting my name out there and it took me a couple of tries to let's see, I lost that one, I lost the general, I lost 3 elections before I got in.
Wow, that's pretty, yeah. That's a lot. And you served 16 years.
I have, yeah.
So, which
Not
is, you
all in a
know,
row. I did 12 and then took an 8 year break and then this last 4 and if I gotta wait 4 years to run again, then I wait 4 years. If there's a buyout,
if you were a UPC or UCP or whatever the hell adherent, I'm sure you could have garnered up enough votes.
yeah, let's
All
leave
right.
that where it is. We'll talk
Let's
off
leave
camera
that
about that.
word. Boy, yeah, well, politics are start locally, as you know. Um, but anyway, it's a good deal. You know, I'm glad you did that. I'm sure you'll be back
Thank
uh,
you. Appreciate it.
at some point. I mean, if that's what you want to do, of course. It's not. It's a pretty. I don't want to say it's a thankless job because you get your thanks in different ways, but you know, you can't expect it to be monetary or
No, if you
to
get
be
into
like,
politics for money, you're getting into it for the wrong reasons. especially at this local level here. Like town councilors in High Prairie, you get paid $350 a month. You get $100 for a meeting that goes for less than 4 hours. If it goes over 4 hours, you get $200. Your mileage, your hotels, stuff like that are paid, but you're not getting rich doing this,
No.
right? Like if you're getting rich at the municipal level,
You'll be
especially,
going to jail.
wow, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? Um, so
Anyway.
yeah.
Well, that's good though. I mean, it's been we have an election coming up in 2 days, uh, and we'll see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Prop 50.
Imagine how that's gonna go.
I don't know. It's like, are people, it's sort of an anti-Trump referendum
Now,
completely.
are congressmen and senators up this time, or that's next year, right?
That's right. These are what happened is in Texas, they decided to gerrymander or to redraw districts. I shouldn't call it gerrymandering. The redraw congressional districts at a time when usually they don't do it. They usually do it every 10 years, and they did it like in an off year election. So that prompted California to say, well, we're going to do us. If you're doing it, we'll do it. So
Mm-hmm.
California's redrawing the districts and voting on that to see.
Now, are they voting just on redrawing the districts, or are they voting for new representation?
No, it's redrawing the districts. And then in 26, then the elections happen.
Right. What an interesting year you're in for down there.
You know, it's who we're all in for it, I think, is I don't know what to say. Honestly, I don't know where it's going to end up.
Canada's like a nice apartment above a meth lab right now.
No, I think you guys have your own meth lab going. I mean, the thing about
Yeah.
Canada that's frightening, that always frightened me, and this was years ago, is I mean, God, well, yeah, I can say it. Like the mob controlled Montreal, the New York mob controlled Montreal.
Yeah.
Guns pour into Toronto from Chicago and points Detroit, right? Pour into Ontario. I mean, if you look at the Toronto club scene, it's everybody's armed. I would take, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just if you're a gangster, you're a gangster, and there's plenty of guns to have. I think. Um,
Yeah. Well, yeah, everything comes in from Detroit. Detroit is an enigma in America because when you're in Detroit, you have to go south to get to Canada.
Never thought of it that way. But no, it's always been a very big port of entry across that
Absolutely.
bridge. And it's not that, come on, anyway, there's a lot of American influence already. I mean, I think honestly, I've been like looking um, at some of the Alberta Christian nationalist groups that seem to be sprouting up, and it's funded by US money. I mean, I'm convinced of it.
Yes.
I don't want to say that. I mean, I don't,
Like Bill Maher says, I I don't know this for sure. I just know it's true.
well, take a look at our friend. I mean, I never listen to Vincent's videos, so I'm assuming he'll never listen to mine. But I hate it when somebody sends me a link and says, you must listen to this.
Oh,
You've got to, he's into a lot of that shit. And I just refuse to do that. If you want to listen to this podcast, have at it. Otherwise, I just don't give a shit. But where was I? Oh yeah, I mean, the project of selling the history of Christianity or whatever the hell he's doing is a fundraising thing. It's a way to transfer money.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you get books and all that. Yeah, they're great. They used a lot of color ink, but it's a way to, well, there's a lot of pictures and really find, and they spent shitloads and shitloads of money. I heard that if you were writing on this Christian project,
Yeah.
they were paying good rates. I
Mm.
mean, for writers, they were actually, so they were getting money, they were getting money from somewhere. Yeah, I'm just saying where that, where I think the somewhere is probably, a lot of the Christian fundamentalist action down here.
It's
And
not the first time I've heard that.
well, there are only so many Christian nationalists in Alberta, for fuck's sake. I might as well try to get the cattle to buy those fucking books. No, but I mean, they're just, the population isn't there,
Yeah. No.
right? That's what I mean. I don't mean to,
Yeah.
to diss anybody. It's just, there just aren't that many people there. I suppose if we can get the hordes of immigrants coming into Alberta's borders and convert them. No, it's sarcasm light. I need a light, but all right.
Warning, Will Robinson. Warning.
Warning, warning. Yeah, no shit, huh? So, a book published.
Yes.
We're supposed to have, I'm supposed to do a webinar or a webinar. I'm supposed to do one of these podcasts with Stephen Riley coming up.
Okay.
But we're working our way there. But I got to tell you, the book is getting a pretty good reception, though I think some people will be pissed off by it. You read most of it, I believe.
Yeah, you were kind enough to send me an advance copy, so
Yep,
probably changed a little bit.
but not that much. I mean, it's
Yeah.
been, it's a lot of words, not many pictures.
I don't, are there any pictures in it?
There are no pictures. Well, there are now. There's like
Oh, okay.
there's some maps, a couple maps, 3 maps,
Okay.
but no pictures, like no photos, no canoes in the water, no
Right.
nothing.
I sat down and I read this over the course of a weekend, and I knew that, having gone to St. John's, I knew the story. I had read the Reader's Digest article on it, from I think it was the early 80s that one came out. And you knew, as a St. John's boy, you knew what happened at Temiskaming. So much of our safety training that we took revolved around, because somebody would say, well, why do we have to do this? Why do we have this? Because of what happened at Temiskaming. There were other things that happened at St. John's. This was certainly the biggest tragedy. It's not even close. Other things are mentioned in there. Reading this book, I was about 10 seconds away from being in this book because of a mistake I made. And it was sobering, really, to read this. And
Everybody who read any of it felt that way, like they were what you just said about being 10 seconds away from something like that happening.
yeah,
Not 10, I mean, it varies obviously, but they're the
yeah,
near misses.
yeah. Like, I bounced along the bottom of the Churchill River system for a very long time, and swallowed half of it. I maintained that that's why I came up, was because I drank half that river. Um, and if I had gone through the next set of rapids, if I'd been just a little bit further out and hadn't been able to get into the eddy that was on the side of the river, I'd be dead. I have no doubt in my mind that there was no coming back for me.
No, the parts what I wanted to add to this book was really, I hate to say this, but I almost, I went hypothermic.
Mm-hmm.
And what that's like, you don't know what it's like. You just don't know what it's like unless
No,
you've
no,
been
and
through it.
especially if
And
you're,
it's, I tried to make sure that it was honest that way,
yeah,
that people just didn't, you didn't, it's not a glory. It's not a, the fucking heavens don't open up for you. You just want to fall asleep. That's basically it. You just want to fucking fall asleep. You want to know if you're hypothermic, are you sleepy?
yeah, well,
I
that's a big
mean,
part of it.
it's a huge part. It's like you're going into the pit.
Yeah,
You're right. You're just on the edge going in. And
on one of my on one of my new boy year snowshoe runs, and this is again, I mean, and I teased you and I teased Richard about how I was the beneficiary of your suffering, and but it's true. um my first year when I was going, it was cold and temperature up and down, sweating lots, and I had on the standard St. John's uniform, with your bush jacket and whatnot. But we had these backpacks and our parkas were stuffed in there. And partway through a day of uh, snowshoeing, running because there was no snow that year. Um, I was still freezing cold though. Um, I collapsed. Right, I went down. I shouldn't say I collapsed. I fell down, and took me a minute to get up. And the teacher that was with us was Mr. Allen. He gave me, it was either a Werther's or those Kraft caramel squares.
glucose
Yeah,
tablets.
absolutely. He said, "Here, suck on this. Don't just swallow it, and put your parka on." I said, "I'm not cold, sir. I don't care. Put your parka on." So did both of those things, and within a minute of me putting that parka on, I realized I'm cold.
You get
So,
lulled
and
into
that's
it.
just the body warming up to the point where it's like, dude, right? So I'd gone past that.
Well, the book's just not about Temiskaming, even though, like you said, the events of that day probably dominated, right? It dominated the school following it. After the event, it sort of set a lot of shit in motion, whether it was safety standards or what, just reforms to what they were doing prior.
Yeah.
And, it's not a question of blame in my mind. Some people wanted to blame. And yeah, you can blame all you want, but it doesn't fucking change shit at
You
this
know,
point.
the
It's
what
history.
it is. And when I was reading the book, what I took away from it was um the school flew by the seat of its pants for a very long time and got lucky. At Temiskaming, the luck ran out, and then things changed for the better. Without that, eventually something like that was going to happen. Uh, you know, and reading, like, I this is the thing. Reading that book, I knew what was coming, but I was still in tears as it was as the event in the book is unfolding, because it's like, oh my god. And the names that are in there, well, I know some of those names of the people that were in there. um Towards the end they talk about the guy from the University of Alberta that was doing his
Woods.
woods. Yes, well, he was on a couple of my brigades.
Yeah. Well, the latter, Alberta was arguably a very successful school.
Hmm.
Um, graduated a lot of people. The people
Was the
who went.
last one standing. I think lasted, in terms of a timeline, lasted longer than any of the other
Oh
schools.
yeah, yes. And I know, I mean, I personally know Jackson and Keith
Okay. Yeah.
McKay, and these guys were professionals. by the time they were doing this stuff, and I totally grant them that. But I mean, so yeah, so the book has, it's got a lot of her early history in it. One thing that's remarkable is Riley, actually sat down and interviewed a lot of people.
Hmm.
And his stuff comes from interviews. He just didn't, grab this shit out of the air.
Yeah.
Um, and interviews with like people like Ted Byfield. I mean, I think what's remarkable, by the way, I think what's remarkable is nobody picked up like in Richard's book. Richard took history from Ted Byfield
Yeah.
and wrote about it. To me, that's historically significant. I mean, whether you like Ted or not, or whatever you think, it's still historically significant, which is the whole point.
Yeah.
You can't do these canoe trips anymore because you can't have, 20 boys going across Canada, shitting just anywhere and pissing just anywhere and doing whatever. I mean, those days are gone, right? You have jurisdiction. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Just the
Well,
permits, right? I mean,
they've cracked down a lot on that sort of things, and the other part of it is you can't take 30, 13 and 14-year-old boys and just put them out in the middle of nowhere, because I don't think kids today could do this stuff.
but you know what? There's successful schools that spawned off, like Ted Spears School, that spawned off that sort of had the St. John's Credo, and they did it, or that I think his school was co-ed, but still, you can do the outdoor shit, you can do a lot of this, but it's got to be done different, I guess. But it's a thing that can never be recreated unless we go like total Sparta, or this becomes like pure a nationalist thing, or where everybody does it, right?
Yeah.
uh but it was intense. I mean, I mean, it deserved to have a book, another book, yet another book.
Yeah.
um
I think there's a lot of books that can be written about St. John's. All
oh,
like all three schools.
well, you know what, I bet you there are a lot of books written that we don't know about. I mean, I know, like, what's interesting about this book is you don't really go into the alumni,
No.
right? I mean, it's not, you don't talk about Robert Young Pelton, you don't talk about Michael Rowe, um, people, authors, producers, creators who have come out of it, titans of industry, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That really doesn't play into this at all, hardly.
No, well, that
Maybe,
wasn't the story that was being told, right? Like, that's a book in and of itself.
yeah, in and of it, thank you. Yes, exactly. I mean, people come out of the woodwork having written shit.
Well, this book was written what, 10, 15, 20 years
20.
ago, 20 years ago, and it sat on a shelf.
Yeah,
Thank
he couldn't
goodness they
get,
found you to get this thing published.
I guess, yep. Well, you know what? I started reading it and it was good stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, this guy, Stephen Riley, the guy was like a professional journalist for God knows how long. I mean,
Yeah.
he is in Northern Ireland now.
Hmm.
And he ended up there because he was a reporter. He was reporting on the troubles in Ireland. He went from reporting in Winnipeg and Northern Ontario over to the UK, or
Well,
UK. I don't know.
that's a
That's
little bit
probably
of culture shock.
Ireland. I don't know if it's a UK, Ireland, whatever, Northern Ireland, Belfast. Um, but those were like hardcore times to live through.
Well, I remember as a kid watching the news, I mean, people thought, oh, that was so long ago. No, I remember watching this on the news.
It can come back. So anyway, what are we gonna do? So what's your prediction for the Jays tonight?
They
You got
win.
to Jays for the
I
win.
honestly believe that they win. I think that they get to Otani early, and they quit stranding so many damn batters.
I
Did you
want to,
watch that 18 inning marathon?
you know what? I went to bed.
So did my wife. She gave up at midnight.
I gave up like I think in inning 14 or 15. I
Yeah,
just
that
said,
was
fuck
that.
this.
Here's the thing: the Dodgers are a great team. They really are, loaded up with generational talent that's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But the Toronto Blue Jays in that 18 inning marathon went from the seventh inning to the 18th inning and only allowed one run. And half of their guys were out. Springer was out. Bichette was out. I think there was a couple of like some of their big bats are out.
Well, Bichette's still out. He's like fucked up. I mean, the some of those guys are walking wounded. You know, Bichette can't run. He can
Yeah,
hit, but he can't run. I mean, you can see
but I mean
he's
that's all you need,
wobbling.
right? Is you just need to get on base. Who
And
the hell was it there?
Vlad Jr. is not your speedster.
No, well, neither's Captain Kirk,
Yeah.
right? Like they're and but this is the genius of the Toronto Blue Jays is they're not trying to hit a home run every time. Sure, they've hit home runs. Vlad's hit 8. The record is 10, so that's within reach. Um, but
The genius of the Toronto
what's
Blue
more
Jays is
beneficial?
that
Do you
they're
want to
not the
hit?
fucking Maple Leafs. That's their fucking genius. I'm
Well,
sorry.
there's
That's the
that.
genius. They're not the Maple Leafs. Because you know
Um,
what? Throughout all of this, I just want to say out there to the world, the Leafs suck.
do they play
They
tonight?
suck. I don't give a shit if they play. Does it
Well,
matter?
because it's you know what? It will matter because of the timing.
Oh,
Leafs
they do play. You know what? I
they
saw
do play.
something about it. They're playing Columbus or some fucking, I mean,
No,
it's
they're
like,
playing the Flyers, and that starts
but
5. That's
where?
probably my time 5. So 3. I
Where?
think they
In
moved
Toronto?
this game.
Oh,
Oh, is this in Philadelphia? Where the heck is this? Oh, balls.
well, anyway, I'm actually going to a Sharks game.
Tonight?
No, tomorrow
Okay.
against Detroit.
Detroit is up and coming.
I thought you'd say that about the fucking Sharks. I think the Sharks are up and coming.
Well,
Celebrini, Smith.
both of them, right? But Detroit's been close for a little while.
I hate Detroit. I mean, the best thing I ever saw in my life was early on in the Sharks history. I had season tickets. It had to be in the 90s. And we went to a playoff game against Detroit. And Detroit start was, scoring in the first period.
Yeah.
And there was this one asshole with a Detroit jersey in our section who kept standing up and cheering for Detroit. So in between the intermission, I don't know if it was the first or the second intermission, probably the first, this guy at a Sharks jersey comes up to him and just cold cocks him. Just takes it, just this drunk, just takes a swing at this guy. All right. So then security comes down to pick both of them up, and the Detroit fan resists.
Oh no.
I didn't do anything. So they haul him off. So you think this guy probably got tickets to go to San Jose, got pickup tickets for the Sharks game. Actually, I think he had flown in from Detroit. And he basically, after the first period, he ends up in jail, until somebody figures, sorts it all out. But anyway, yeah, that's how, but you know what? I felt for that drunk Sharks fan taking that swing at that, you know, asshole wearing a Detroit jersey. I've always hated Detroit, honestly, from the start.
That's fine.
They're
I've
assholes.
always hated Calgary.
Really?
Yeah, I've always hated Calgary. I've always hated Montreal.
Oh,
Uh,
fuck you.
I
Montreal is like, everything. You all like suck warm Zamboni water compared
Yeah.
to what the Canadian have done for Canada,
Uh,
for the world, for
I will
me,
say this
for
about
you.
Montreal. When Montreal puts on a ceremony, first class, they can do that. I hate the team, but they put on a first class ceremony. And when the Oilers put on a ceremony, it's also first class because Glenn Sather brought that from Montreal. He played for Montreal, came to the Oilers as a player coach, and then became the legendary figure that he became. Um, so that, I mean,
I
for that,
think if
I'll
you
give them credit.
if you had a team in Quebec City again, it
Yeah,
would be, I mean, it would probably up the Canadian hockey a lot in terms of just the
absolutely, it would.
rivalry. The rivalry between Montreal and Quebec would really be
Those two teams hated each other.
see, that's Ottawa and Toronto can't get its fucking shit together. I mean, it's boring as shit. It's like, who gives a fuck?
Well,
You know what? Anyway, don't get me going.
well, the thing with Ottawa and Toronto is that when one is good, the other one sucks. It's
They
like,
all suck. They always suck. They don't, there's not when one is what, when is one good? Is one good when it chokes in the first round, or choking in the second round make you better?
yeah, well, six regular season success. Like they haven't met in the playoffs in forever. It's like Edmonton.
Choking a little.
Little.
So are you broadcasting again?
I'm sorry.
Are you broadcasting High Prairie Red Wings? Speaking of the Red Wings.
I've done a couple of Red Wings games. If I do Red Wings games, it's typically I'll just do color because there's a different guy that does the play-by-play now. I do the
Uh,
High Prairie Regals. It's a lot lighter schedule. There's only 8 home games. Had our first one, uh, they lost, but they looked better losing than they did last year. So I'm looking forward to that. Next Saturday is our next home game, and
well,
we'll see how they do.
so you have two hockey teams in High Prairie now.
Yes,
Wow. It
that's
must
what
be
we do.
tough to get ice time.
It's not. We have 2 arenas.
But anyway. Well, with that, I think it's probably time to cauterize this son of a bitch.
All right.
I guess that's not a great way to close it. So, we didn't run any of our ads. So please get Richard D. Candle's book, Toughest School in North America, or the new book out by Stephen Riley, God's Paddlers. Two completely different books, but
And but
both
if you
good.
went to St. John's, you'll read these books and you'll relate to it.
Yes, it does do that. You will relate to the time spent incarcerated. I mean, the time you spent attending the school.
It's like that, sir.
Yeah, something like that. Well, with that, guys, we'll talk soon. Bye.